So, okay, we are recording. Okay, so welcome everybody. It is, I don't even know what night is it. It's been a crazy week. It's Thursday. It's Wednesday. It's Thursday. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm having such a hard time. It's Thursday night. We've been so excited for this call. Welcome, Chelsea Miller. It's been pretty recent that we've had an explosion of the start age group on our team, that 18 to 35-year-old group. And Chelsea, you're so gracious to do this call for us. Well, we're not financially linked to you. Our team is all a part of the greater global exec team, and it's just amazing and how we all work together. And so we're so appreciative of you. For those that don't know, I'll give you a little background on Chelsea. She's 23 years old, which those of us that aren't 23 can't imagine what all of you guys have at your fingertips at such a young age. 23 years old, 5-star Golden Circle, which Chelsea, a lot of the new people on the call tonight have no idea what that means. So I'll let you elaborate what the heck 5-star Golden Circle even means. And you're just an amazing, beautiful person. We're watching you on Facebook. You just got to celebrate your 23rd birthday in Guatemala. And you're having freedom. You're living your life the way you want to, helping so many people and having such a great time doing it, and then making this incredible income. And that's what we want to all hear about. So what we're going to do is Chelsea and I talked, and she's going to tell us her story, give us some information, and then we have some great questions for you, Chelsea. And then for those on the phone, we'll have some time at the end to answer your questions. So I'll turn it over to you, Chelsea, to tell us about yourself.
Perfect. All right. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, I figured I'll start with my story. Some of you probably know it, but some of you might not have ever heard it before. So I got started with the Isagenix product line when I was 18 years old. It was basically, I was in my freshman year of college. I had always been a fit person. I had played tennis, pretty healthy. But then you go off to college and you are eating at the dining hall and you are not exercising as much and partaking in recreational activities that help put on weight, such as drinking alcohol. So the combination, I had just started to feel sick all the
Chelsea,
time.
I'm going to interrupt you 1 second. I'm going to mute everybody, and just in case it mutes you too, sorry, give me 1 second so I can unmute you. I apologize. I want to get rid of the background noise. Okay, go. Everyone's muted but you. Sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
No problem. So I had just started to feel really crappy. I was putting on weight that I wasn't used to having. I was tired all the time. I was napping in the middle of the day, which was just not like me. I was getting sick 24/7. My immune system was down. And in the meanwhile, my mom had struggled with autoimmune diseases, had struggled with fatigue issues, had struggled with weight issues, and she had started to feel really great on this new system that I had heard nothing about. So I got home from school and, of course, wanted to hear nothing about it because I was like, my mom was telling me to do it, and I was like, I'm going to do the paleo diet. But she convinced me to start it, and so I was a little skeptical at first, but I got on the system, and literally within 4 days, I lit up inside. It was weird. I was waking up at 5 in the morning wanting to go to the gym, and I was like, I don't even go to the gym, so that's just weird in the first place that I wanted to go to the gym at 5 in the morning. And I just had so much more energy, and I finally understood what it meant to feel good every single day. And I'm like, I'm 18 years old. I should feel good every single day. It shouldn't be sluggish and tired and just that fog that you feel. And I had a lot of stomach issues, just acid reflux and stuff like that I was always dealing with. So, and digestive issues. So for me, it was just wow, nutrition really matters. And then on top of that, I lost the weight that I had put on during my freshman year. So after that, I was hooked on the products, and I maintained on them for the rest of my time at college. Everyone always knew that if they came into my dorm room, there would be Isagenix products there. So I joke about it to this day because people used to buy e-shots off of me because they wanted to mix it with their vodka. So it was always everyone always knew I had Isagenix in my room. But so then it was coming, during that period of time, I had always known about the network marketing industry. I was born into the industry. My parents were involved in network marketing before I was even born. And growing up, both my parents had been in and out of the industry. They had told me about it. They had told me that it was the best industry in the world, but they had gone on to pursue their own businesses and being serial entrepreneurs. And I was like dead set on being a network marketer. Like I grew up, like I went on my college interviews, and when they would ask me what I wanted to be, I was like, I want to be a professional network marketer. My parents were like, don't say that. Like, because they're not in the industry at this point. Like they weren't even doing Isagenix. So, and then when I got into college, then what started to happen is my parents get into this company, and I start to have the ego takeover. So I'm at one of the #1 schools in the country for business. I have everybody getting Fortune 500 jobs, and all of a sudden I was studying economics and analytics, and I was getting good grades, and I was having these great internships, and I was like, oh my God, I could get this 6-figure paying job like right out of college, and all of this stuff, and you get kind of pushed down that path. So I started to pull away from the idea of network marketing, and I went and I had an internship at a Fortune 500 company in New York for the summer. And it took maybe like one day before I realized how much that was not going to work out for me. I just, throughout the summer, I really started to realize how much I didn't like being told when to show up and when to leave and how long my lunch break could be, and putting in all these work hours where I felt like I wasn't even contributing at the full potential that I could, and being told how much I was worth. But more importantly, I started looking at my boss and my boss's boss and my boss's boss, and I was like, none of you have the life that I want. And I was like, if I'm going to work here or in any job, I started to really think, well, let's look all the way up the ranks. If I'm going to work my butt off for, 20, 30 years building somebody else's dream, where am I going to end up? And if I don't even want that life, then why am I doing that? So I really started to get more serious about thinking about what is the lifestyle that I wanted to lead, not just, the job title that I wanted to hold for my ego. And so I left at the end of the summer. I came out to our annual corporate event, which I hope all of you are going to, Celebration, because it is absolutely life-changing. And I was sitting at that event, and I had been there before to support my parents, but I had never been there for myself. And I was sitting there in the third row, sitting next to my mom, and I just saw so many young people who were really living the life of their dreams, who were contributing to the world on a daily basis, who were able to pursue their passions, who were able to travel, who had absolutely no commitment to living in any area, no commitment to what time they had to be or who they had to work with, but were just able to do what they wanted every single day. And I was like, all right, this is it. And I told my mom, I looked at my mom and my dad, I said, I'm not going to accept an offer for my internship, and I'm not going to apply for jobs. And you can imagine that at first that was probably a little nerve-wracking to hear from your daughter who just went to school that was $250,000. So it was a little scary, but after a bit, my mom was first to come around. My dad was a little bit more hesitant, but after a little bit, they were supportive of it. And I'm very, very fortunate for that I had parents that understand the power of this industry. And one of the things they always said, they would have never supported me in doing that if they didn't really understand how lucrative and how much of a financial opportunity and the path that this really is. Because it's not just, when we're 20-somethings, we talk about lifestyle all the time. And one of the stuff that I really want to get into tonight is that it is a lifestyle business, but that's not the only reason that 20-somethings, every single 20-something should be involved in this, whether it's as a backup plan B to have money coming in or as to replace your full-time income. Every single person needs a residual income source. And they understood that. And I understood that because I was fortunate enough to read a lot of financial books growing up and play Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad game as a kid, because those were the board games we played at my household. But so funny. But so I pursued it part-time during my senior year, very part-time. I had started to build a team on the side. And by the time I had graduated, I was fortunate enough to have built a strong enough team that I was making a full-time income. And so I pursued it full-time. And through within the July of last year, I hit 5-star Golden Circle, which what that means for anyone who doesn't know what that is on this call is basically we have rank advancements in our company that label you at which income level you are. And it's basically it's a high level 6-figure income. Now, I'm always extremely honest about where I'm at. That does not necessarily mean that's what I'm making, but it's the potential of which that I'm at right now on a weekly basis. But it is an amazing opportunity for me that I am making a full-time income while being able to travel the world. Like she just said, I actually just spent 2 weeks in Guatemala. And when I looked back on it, I was like, I actually made double the amount of money not working for 2 weeks, traveling and living out all my dreams than I spent there. And I was like, and like, even like, I know this opportunity and I still am shocked by it on a daily basis because the power of building something that's a residual income is so huge that when you really understand it, it's like I can't even understand the concept of going back to a linear income where I would have to work and then get paid. And then once I spend it, it's gone. And all that work that I just put in is gone as soon as I spent the money that I made. And the concept just, once you really understand what residualized income is, seems crazy. Not for everyone not to have this. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Now I'm building a team. I'm getting even more focused on building a team of young people who really have a drive and mentoring and training young people who really want to leave their corporate jobs or if they just want to pay off their student loans. And so, yeah, that's what I'm passionate about. And I guess from here we can go into questions.
That is so incredible, and your story answers, so many of our questions as it is, and I love that you went to work in New York and you saw what that was like, because now you know the difference, and you don't ever have to wonder, like, well, what if maybe I should have done that? You tried it, and your passion is here, and that's so great for you. Yeah. So I'll start with this question: you're building a team now with young people like you. At this age, the financial, the cost of getting into Isagenix, which of course it's food that you eat and we all have to eat. But how do you address that with young people?
So this is a question that at first, when I would get it all the time, I believed it too. I was like, you know what, young people have a harder time with it. What I have found over the past 2 years, is really that whether you're 18 or you're 45, it doesn't really, your cost, like objectives are going to be the same. So I have had some 20-year-olds who are sophomores in college want to buy a President's Pack. And then I've had some 45-year-olds who have given me pushback on even getting a 30-day. And the reason for it is because there's a couple of things. Everybody's financial story is different. And everybody's in a different position. So a lot of the time, young people have more disposable income because, everything they work for is in their own pocket. And then on the other hand, you have, poor college students, which is where I was at. So it's both. So you have to go into it with the mindset of not prejudging. Because I was prejudging and I was assuming, and there was multiple case scenarios where I was assuming that they were going to need like the smallest system. And then they would be like, well, are there more systems? And I was like, oh, well, yeah. And they'd upsell me. And I'm like, oh, I was like, I was doing a disservice. So the key here is to understand the value of what we have to offer and not prejudge and just give them the layup. Say, hey, I always say, hey, there's multiple packs to fit everybody's budget. My favorite pack, I call it the value pack, which is the President's Pack, is this pack because I know that I can get you the best results possible. But we have other packs that are going to fit your whatever budget will be best for you. Now, one of the things you do run into when you have college-age students is that they already have a meal plan. So if they're living on campus and they already have a meal plan, sometimes we run into that. But they also live on campus with everybody 24/7, and it is much more crucial to them sometimes their appearance. So sometimes they, and they also have this disposable income. So sometimes I have people who want it more, like they have formals coming up, or they have spring breaks that coming up, or they're simply like, I don't care that I have a meal plan. I'm so unhappy with where I'm at. So it's dependent. One of my biggest things that I always ask though is I say, look, this is food to get you healthy or to get you in shape. Are your parents open to either trying the products with you or paying for them, just like your meal plan would have been, redirecting some of your spending into this. Because some people live off campus and they have an option of meal plans or not. So I always go there. I always ask when I'm talking to younger kids, I said, would your parents be open to helping you get healthy? And I always tell them I'm more than happy to speak to your parents, or have, my upline, which happens to be my mom, speak to your parents about it, because sometimes they have their own concerns. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just knowing that just because someone's young doesn't mean that their budget is tighter. Because, then you have adults who have 2 kids who might be struggling for money and have way more concerns, have mortgage to pay, their student loans. I mean, you're not actually paying for college when you're at college. It's like they wait to give you all those checks afterwards. So sometimes they actually do have a more disposable income. So just don't go into it with a judgment of it.
I love that. And you're right. It is the same for all age groups, for everybody. Don't prejudge. And I love the way you said that. Are your parents open to hearing about this and doing it with you? Because chances are they've got a parent that could change their health. And what a great thing that is. So that's brilliant. One of our teammates threw this question in for you along the same lines. If you're talking to a young person and you're talking about the finances, meaning you're showing them the vision of this, how do you talk about that in a way that doesn't overcomplicate it for someone to understand what this could really be for you? Because this is huge. What you're talking about, residual income versus linear income and the freedom that you have, it's a tremendous idea. How do you talk about that without overcomplicating it?
So I'm still working on perfecting this one, because I tend to be the type of person that gets super excited and then I go like, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, okay, like, that sounds great. I'm overwhelmed and I'm going to go over here now. Like, I'm like really confused. But what I've started to find is you always want to cast the vision first and then explain in really layman's terms what it is. So like when you start to try and explain, even when I say, even the U plus 2, them plus 2, like we've learned how to draw it out, right? We know how to 80 here and then 80 there, and you put it together and it makes 160. And it's like, you're just confusing people. Right? You're literally just confusing people. So it's taking it down and putting it in the easiest way. So if you're talking on a small scale, which is just getting your products paid for, I just say it simply. I go, look, if price is a concern for you, or if price isn't even a concern for you, just to let you know, if you help 2 people get started with you and you guys can all do it together, there's a half off rebate. Because people understand that. Okay, a rebate, I get the money back after I purchase it. It's half off. I don't need to explain to them, well, if you do it in the same week, then it's going to double, and then you're going to get a consultant bonus, because they don't need to know that. Like, that's overwhelming. It's confusing. And then I just tell them, and if you help those 2 people get theirs half off, they're going to you're going to get your pack half off and next month's. So, and then if it gets to the point where they're on a Sunday and they're half week and half in the other week, then we're going to start going into a little bit more explaining. But in general, I can help them make sure that they're going to get the most money without having to confuse them. So when it's on that, U plus 2, them plus 2, that's how I explain it. You help 2 people, you get a half off rebate. You help them get half off rebates, you're going to get this month and next month's free because of the $250 manager bonus. But I don't tell them that. I know that in my head. Right. When it comes to explaining the big picture, what I found the best way to do it is I just ask questions like, most people have forgotten to dream even at the age of 20, because we've been growing up being told what we can and cannot achieve based on what we have seen, right? If you've seen your parents go to work for 40 years and it's been hard to pay for vacations and, Christmas is tight, you're going to grow up with the same belief system that that's really where you're at. Or most people grow up, and it's very rare to grow up in a world where there's network marketers around and they're not seeing this lifestyle, right? We have this precondition in us that we work for money. So to have this idea that you could work once to get paid forever is very confusing to people, and it's hard to change that. So I asked questions, and I said, like, things like, what if there was a way in which when you graduated, or in the next, depending on how old they are, in the next 2 to 3 years of work, you could create an income stream for yourself that would allow you to pursue whatever it is that you're passionate about. What are you most passionate about? So I cast a vision for them. And initially their reaction was like, yeah, that'd be great. Cool, Chelsea. Thanks for bringing it up. Like, you know, like that's, you know, like, so you cast this bigger vision, and then you say, let me explain to you like what I do, or let me explain to you what has been offered to me, this opportunity that I'm starting to pursue. You know, I'm not, because a lot of us are not there yet. Most people are not doing this full time, especially young people. So you say, you know, this opportunity has been shared with me by such and such. Are you open to hearing, you know, what it is? Awesome. I like to explain it again in terms that people can understand. So I often say, I'm like, do you know the difference between linear, leveraged, and residual income? There's 3 income streams. And they usually say, yeah. And I'm like, okay, do you mind if I just explain it? Because usually people don't say no, even though they don't know the difference. And I'm like, awesome. I was like, but do you mind if I just explain it a little differently? They're like, okay. I was like, whether you're a doctor or you're a hairdresser or you are a janitor or you are a CEO, no matter what position you have, you're in linear income, because when you show up, you get paid. And when you don't show up, you don't get paid. You have a certain amount of weeks that you can take off, and you have a certain amount of time that you have a certain amount of sick days. I go, that's linear income. And once you spend that money, it's gone, and you have to go work for it again. I go, residual income is what you see with real estate, people buying into real estate. It's what you see with people buying into franchises. It's what you see with people owning their own businesses, because they're taking the money that they have, they're creating something, and they're leveraging it to create more money so it's working for them. But you're spending your time and effort, and you're putting in a financial investment, and usually it takes a big financial investment and a big time commitment. And a lot of time people in that leveraged income end up really working for instead of working for a job, they're working for their business, but they're still fully employed by it. And then I say, okay, now residual income is like what an actress, an actor, a musician, that's what they do. So they go to work and they spend 1 year to 2 years making a movie or making an album. And then every single time that album is bought, that movie is bought, or that movie is listened to, watched or listened to, they're going to get paid a piece of it. So they put 2 years into creating something, and then it's forever going to pay them. That is the type of income stream that we're talking about. We're talking about the type of income stream that you're going to spend 2 to 3, 4, 5 years creating, that you're going to create a network of consumers that have a vested interest, and you can hear my mom coming out right there, have a vested interest in purchasing this product for a lifetime. And then every single week for the rest of your life, you're going to get paid on that. Whether they get that right on the spot or not, their mind is twirling. But I put it in ways that wasn't so confusing. I'm not big in right off the bat writing down the compensation plan. Honestly, most of the time, I don't show the compensation plan until they're already signed up. Sometimes they want to know it. They're like, they get really detail oriented and they want to know everything. But most of the time, people just want to hear the vision and understand it in words that they can understand. Because that makes sense, because they can understand those jobs because they've seen it. So that's usually how I explain the financial opportunity without overwhelming and confusing people. And then if they want to know, okay, well, how do you do that? I say, well, we build teams of people, and by building teams of people, we leveraged our time, because I can go out and I can not only bring in consumers, but I also train and mentor other people. And then when they're working, then they can go and train and mentor, and it builds out. And then once I put in the initial investment of my time and energy, it's going to continue to pay me for years on end. And I use an exponential graph model a lot. I draw it out for them, which for those of you who haven't seen it, it's like this, and then it goes like that. So I always push, I'm going to draw it for you guys, because I really like this when I'm showing people the financial opportunity. So what I do is, I don't know if you're going to even be able to see this. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I go like this. I go, this is year 1. This is year 2. I'm drawing backwards, so I don't know if it. And this is year 3.
Year 3.
Can you see that?
Yep.
So I say, within your first year, you're often putting in so much effort that it almost feels like you're still in linear. You're not getting paid unless you're doing something. And a lot of people quit in their first year because they are in their first year and they feel like it's not working. But the reality is they're just laying their foundation. And this is something that I explain to prospects because I want people to understand going into it that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a legit business model and what it takes to be successful, because I spent the first probably 6 months to 8 months having a lot of people come on board and then quit, and then me feeling like a failure because I did something wrong. But that's not the case. You know, it's just about really better educating people so you have the right people and you're spending your time with the right people. So I explained that. I said the first year, so many people quit in it because they feel like they're spinning their wheels. But what they don't understand is it is an exponential growth model. Not only that, it takes a longer time to get your first 100 people than it will take to get your first 1,000, because when you have one person sharing it with people, it takes a lot longer to get 100 people on board. When you have 100 people sharing it, it's going to grow faster. But also just the fact that you're going to spend your first year talking to so many people and most of them are going to say no. And then in the next year, all those people you talk to, your effort is also on this exponential graph. Then I show them the second year and I say, your second year is a little bit different. All of a sudden, you're going to be a little bit like, why did that money just come in? Where is that coming from? How is it growing? Who just enrolled that person? That's what I'm just starting to experience. My first year, there was a point, and I'll never forget, I went into my mom's room and I was like, Mom, I am pulling my hair out. I feel like I am spinning my wheels. Every time I enroll one person, another person's falling out. I can't get a steady team. I was like, I'm not growing, and I just feel like a fraud. I was like, I'm not even a real network marketer. Like, you just start, I felt like crap, to be honest. And my mom was like, this is your 8-month mark at the end, and this is where most people quit. She's like, this is so normal. And I was like, yeah. Because it's really hard to differentiate your mom and your sponsor sometimes. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then all of a sudden, in the last month even, it's really been the last month, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I see it starting to, so it starts to do this in your second year. And all of a sudden, by the end of your second year, you're like, I can't even keep up with it. And in your third year, and this is based on effort. So it could take longer or shorter based on effort, but this is average. For people, and this is what we're seeing a lot in the Global Exec team, our 3-year freedom plan. But in your third year, all of a sudden it's like, I couldn't stop this if I tried, because there are so many other leaders and there are so many other people who are building this with me. And there's so many consumers that won't stop sharing because they're having such incredible results that I couldn't stop my income from growing if I tried, which is honestly a really amazing place to be in. So, you know, sometimes I'm a loss for words when I really think about the opportunity.
Wow. Okay, you just helped everyone in so many different avenues. I want to say, first of all, to the people on the phone that aren't videoing in, we are recording this with the video, so you will see what she drew. And also, because we're recording this, honestly, I encourage every one of you to listen to this again when you're not doing whatever it is that you're doing right now, because we're all always doing 1,000 things. But listen to this when you have a pencil and paper, because Chelsea, what you said is literally exactly what to say to every person, no matter if they're in the start group or not. She laid it out. Like, this is exactly how you explain it. It was a brilliant and uncomplicated explanation of how to show someone the vision of this. So I'm going to re-listen and write it down, and then you practice it. Yeah. So I love that. Thank you. And you also went right into, honestly, what was my question coming up, which is, Chelsea, we see you and you have so much success and you're doing so well. Yeah. We know that there were days before that which you addressed, because we've had those days, but there's a lot of new people on the phone, and we've all experienced what you experienced 8 months in, and people are like, I can't do this. So can you speak a little bit more to that? Because I want all of you, new and old, to hear what she's saying. Yeah. Everyone old, so that when your new teammates come on, you can help them with this, and all of the new people on. This is so important. This is so important.
I love speaking to this because I definitely struggled with it for a long time. I got thrown into this as already having a huge shining light on me. You know what I mean? Because I had my mom who is and my dad who is extremely successful, and I was coming into the industry with a lot of pressure. And I happened to be in a position where I grew very fast, very quickly. And that is not the case for everybody. So it's always good to know that everybody comes from a different starting point and everybody comes from a different background. I was fortunate enough that I had just spent 4 years and a whole lifetime basically of learning a lot about network marketing, that I had a little bit of running room before I got started. But what I think is key here to understand is when you really get the network marketing model, you understand that rank advancements and titles have absolutely nothing to do with actually claiming what we're earning, our income we're earning. What they're really there for is to help us have a goal to hit. Because when you really start to understand this industry, we build like this on waves. So you're going up the wave, you hit it, and then you come back down, but a little bit on higher ground. And you go up the wave and you hit it, but a little bit on, and then you come back down, but on higher ground. So I can promise you this, what everybody is doing, they're going, whoop, hit 1 star, okay, but I'm more around like 2-3 cycles a week. Whoop, hit 15 cycles, okay, no, but I'm really around like 7-8 cycles a week. Whoop, hit 20 cycles, I'm a 2-star now, oh, but I'm really more around like 10 cycles a week. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening, but that's how it builds, because the whole point of having these ranks to hit is because it gives you a clear-cut goal to head for, and a time period that you can set for yourself to hit it, right? So when you hear, oh, this person's 5-star and this person's 8-star and this person's 6-star, it can be really easy to get into the comparison game. And it's the worst thing that you can do for yourself, because the bottom line is that you are running your own race. But this is the reason that you got into this industry and that you got into this business wasn't so that you could be a star on stage, hopefully. The reason is so that you could have freedom in your life, financially, physically, and help other people. So when people get, and it's happened to me, I've gone into it and you feel like you're failing because you've only made a $12,000 a year income, which by the way, that's cycling, I believe, five times a week. So people come into this business and they're like, I'm only cycling 5 times a week. And I'm like, you're making $12,000 a year, most likely in your first year of building this business. I'm like, do you understand that? And most people, they're in the red when they start a business for the first 5 years. So I'm like, that is a huge accomplishment. But because we start looking like up here and we're like, oh, what are all these other stars? And we start feeling like we're failing. We have to remember what the actual goal is and what that's doing for our lives. And also remembering that residual income is so much harder to build than any other income stream. This is not linear income. So when you go to work and you're like, oh my goodness, I just spent the last year building my business and I'm only, and I say only with air quotations, only making blank amount, you have to remember you're not just making $25,000 a year spending a year building your business. You're making $25,000 a year residually. That is so much harder to do than just because anybody could go out and get a job that's going to pay you a certain amount of hours a day, but it's a residual. You just built a $25,000 a year asset for yourself. But going back with the ranks is that it's really understanding that sometimes people who are at those ranks are actually getting paid at those ranks. That's not all the time. And not to put these people on a pedestal. I remember I would be like, oh my God, this person is making this amount of money and they're at this rank and that makes them so much more special. And I need to look up to them and listen to everything that they say. That's not necessarily true. It's not that no one's any more special than you are. They just had more practice and more time in growing their business. You know, and they've put more and they've talked to more people, most likely. And like I said, most people are not actually at the rank that they're at. So don't get hard on yourself. Like, oh my God, this person did it in such a short period of time. Like I am always very honest with people. Like I hit 5-star, but I'm more paid as like a 2-star. And I say that with people because I don't want people going around being like, oh my God, this girl is so special because she's at this rank. I go, I've just put a lot of time and effort, but I know that when you hit that means my business is growing in an upward momentum, right? Because hitting ranks just basically means you're growing. And that's really good. And then a lot of people will get into I hit a rank, but I fell down from it. And then they start to feel like they're doing something wrong again because they're like, wait, I'm not consistent at it. And I'm like, but you're not doing anything wrong. That's actually exactly how it's supposed to be. So when you really get to understand the industry and that's how it's supposed to work, it makes you feel a lot better. And just realizing that anybody that's, it's just about the amount of time and the amount of people that you're talking to. But it's a residual income, and you have to remember why you're building it. It's not to have, the recognition of the titles, even though those are amazing and it feels great. And I'm right there with you, how great it feels when you finally hit that rank that you've been dying to hit. But the reality is the freedom that it's creating in your life and the amount of, the difference that you're making in other people's lives, and to just kind of take it back and really think about that.
It's so true. And I want to highlight one thing you said. In any other business that you would be your own boss, like what we are, there would be some kind of investment, a massive investment. So
Yep.
You wouldn't make $25,000 a year that you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm really bummed, that's all I'm making. You would, like you just said, you'd still be in the red from the
Yep.
$100,000 of the business that you need to
Yep.
invest in, more likely. Maybe
Yep.
$50,000 if we're going like small business, to invest in, to have this freedom. And even then, it's not necessarily freedom because now you own a business that has overhead and employees and a whole thing. So there's a lot of pieces and parts to put into place when you're saying a year later, I'm only making this. You're also not in debt, and your only investment is this food that we all know is life changing. So there's that whole part. Like,
Yeah,
the only thing you're spending money on is literally changing your health.
exactly.
So,
And I've had that conversation with one of my teammates, which some of you might know, Liz, and she's what we call a stressed achiever, where she's achieving, but she's so stressed about it as she's getting up there. And I said to her, she's like, oh, I'm only at this level and I've been building for a year. And I was like, Liz, how much have you made in the last year? And she went on to tell me, and it was somewhere over 10,000 or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. And I was like, okay, but she also has a startup that she's had for 3 years now that she has not made a dime off of and is still losing money and has not made back. And then she also has her job that she hates and she makes a great salary from, but it's not a residual income. And when she quits that job, it won't be there. And when she has to call in a sick day because her children are sick, she's not getting paid. And it's constantly taking it away from her kids. So I say to her, I'm like, look at what you've really created in this first year. Because it's huge. It's really huge, but we get so caught up in one sounds so little, 1 star or 5 cycles. It sounds so little whenever the people are talking about 100 cycles, but it's not little. And also, I always point this out because sometimes no one thinks about this, but being the business major, I think about this. Sometimes I go, do the numbers. You're only getting paid on 6% of what you're producing, which is incredible. I mean, it's incredible that you're getting paid on it, but how much volume are you really bringing into your business every year? Because other businesses out there, when an entrepreneur gets started up, they don't say what their profit is at the end of the year. They say what their revenue is at the end of the year. So if you're doing I like to go into my back office and say, okay, I'm actually doing like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in volume a month that I've been able to bring into a business to create. And it kind of puts it in perspective for yourself. And it's cool to be able to tell other people, look, like my business does $400,000 in volume a year. You just are getting paid, but that's your revenue. And what's your profit? So it's interesting as a business person to just look at it that way. You look at it instead of BV, look at what you're at, and then instead of percentage, what you're actually bringing in, because those are the numbers that especially if you're talking to a business person, to be able to, the power of network marketing is that within 1 year, you could be helping the company bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars in volume. And then we sit here and we think, oh, I haven't done anything. I haven't created that much. I'm like, you're literally bringing hundreds of thousands of dollars of volume in your network that you've created. It's powerful. And when you say that to a professional business person, they're like, I'm sorry, what? You know? So it's powerful to take a look at your back office and really understand the amount of volume that is going through your network.
That's amazing. So that is so powerful. Okay, I want to step back in time for a minute where you talked about where you started this. You were still in college and you were doing this part-time. So there are multiple college students on this call right now who are just getting started. Some are considering getting started. They're busy. They're in college. They're working towards something. So how did you do this in your part-time? Because you did it differently than what you're doing now.
Yeah. So here's the thing. And if you've never read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I highly suggest reading it, because when you understand because that's just about finances. When you understand the power of finances, you will really understand the power of this business. One of the reasons why this business is so lucrative is because we are not purchasing a business. We are purchasing a system. Not just our Isagenix system of our products, but our business system. Isagenix has a system, and specifically because we have the most powerful team in the entire company, I truly believe, we have an amazing system already developed in place. And you do not have to build very much. All you have to do is plug in. So what I did is I utilized the system and connected people to it. So we already have every Monday a call that's going to go over the products. So I don't have to spend all my time trying to teach people what the products do. I know that there's already somebody who is going to be professionally going over this. I know that every Tuesday we have a call that goes over the business opportunity. So I don't have to spend time trying to explain to every single person that I meet what this business opportunity is, at least not right off the bat. I know that we have training calls for 30 minutes every single morning. So I don't have to sit there and try and train every single person that I bring on board. That is the leverage of this opportunity with our time. It's not just even a leverage of our money, but it's a leverage of our time, because I can connect to so many more people when I'm not trying to be the scientist, the business professional, and the trainer. When I can simply be the connector, which is really all we're here to do. So when I was at school, I would connect to people and be like, oh my goodness, you're trying to lose weight? I have this amazing system that I love. What's it about? What's this? Blah, blah. You know what? I'd love to explain it to you, but I know that there's a 30-minute call you could listen to that's so much better than this. It's on Monday. And if it's not close to Monday, if I was talking to them on like a Thursday or Friday, I'd be like, I can send you a link to a video, a recorded video, if you want to listen to it. It's leveraging your time, because we're busy. And after postgrad, you get busy too, especially if you have a full-time job. If you have kids, you're busy. If I was in a sorority, I was in the dance ensemble, I was on the women's leadership program, I was also had a social life. I was a busy person, but I connected people into that. And then I connected them into our team, so that when I couldn't be present, because a lot of my team was based in Foxborough and I was off at school, they were going to the local meetings. They were going to this. So that's, it's not, you don't have to be anything. Like, that's the power that I always say, well, like, you don't have to be really anything special other than having the capability of sharing information with people. Because we're not a salesperson. That's where people get confused. People think we're in sales. I'm like, we're not in sales. Network marketing is different in sales. We're not selling a product. We're sharing information with people. And if you are selling a product, then you're probably doing it wrong. And I got into doing it wrong because I spent so much time, every call I got on, doing a full presentation, that I was like, I'm tired, my voice hurts, and I'm not even leveraging my time very well. And that I was in sales. I felt like I was in sales. And when I realized the power of, our time value is just, you have somebody, I talked to somebody about the business. Great. Let me show you a start call. And then we'll talk after you listen to it, because then you're already interested. You want to get started on you're interested in listening to the product. Let me plug you into this. And that's whether you're a full-time student or a full-time network marketer, because there's just no need for you to be, reinventing the wheel that's already in place for us.
Absolutely. Brilliant. And that led to my next question, which was to talk about the tools and why they're so important, and which you just did. We cannot do this without the tools, and why we must plug in. And I'm going to say for a minute too, kudos to, a lot of people on this call, I have to back up for a minute, know that when you say your parents, who you're talking about, but there's a lot of new people that don't. Yes. So I will say quickly, Susan and Murray Miller are her parents that she speaks of, that are like all of our parents. They're like the global exec team's parents. They're so amazing. And, your mom created two of the most phenomenal tools in our websites, the globalexecteam.com and getfit.global. So where we used to scrounge around and I would like come up with like, oh, I'll send this to this person and this to this. I don't do that anymore. Now I'm like, getfit.global, and I'll help them know where to go. Yep. But just use those sites for prospects, use those calls that she just mentioned at night for prospects. And then the training calls in the morning, like we learn everything there is. So you're right. And at any age, we're all busy. It doesn't matter, school, not school. I mean, we all have 1,000 things going on. So, yes, the tools are so key. And that's what's going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So I want to ask it.
Yeah. And it's the truth, because if you're not in the global exec team, you're going to hear people talk about isogenicsbusiness.com and startyourlife.com. And I'm going to be honest, I don't use those websites anymore because I have such a powerful tool now with this site that my mom has gone to work and spend, and I can, I watched her spend hours and hours on doing this because she's been in this industry. She knows what is needed and it's right there for us. So I now, whenever somebody comes to me and says, I'm interested in the products, I say, that's awesome. I'm going to add you to GetFit, our Facebook page, so that you can see personal testimonials, and I'm going to welcome you there. So they automatically get the community and they see a personal testimonials, and it's our team. And these are all people that I work with personally. That makes a huge difference to people. And then I say, I'm going to also send you to this website. I go, this is our team's website. And I know what videos to specifically point out to them. So this is the key thing. The only really things that you have to know in this business is your tools. You need to know when the calls are. You need to know what videos are going to be the best for them. So you should know the Global Exec Team website and the Get Fit website by heart, because those are really, those are going to build your business for you instead of you sitting here and having to train and educate anyone. Those are doing that for you. So now when someone reaches out to me, instead of me saying like, good, great, let's get on a phone call and I'm going to explain to you why food doesn't work and why toxins, which I used to do, and it would be an hour call on my first talk with people, and I'm exhausted and they're overwhelmed, right? Instead, I just say, I say, okay, go to this website. I go, I think for you, the best videos are going to be why diets fail, under the problem, and under solution, I'd like you to take a look at nutritional cleansing. So that's what I send. That's the two that I pick out for somebody trying to lose weight. I always pick one in the problem section and one in the solution section. But if it was an athlete, I'd pick out that section. If it was a scientist, I'd pick out the section where they have the clinical studies. If it was somebody who is sick, I'd say, are you toxic? It's all right there. But the power of this is that they're going to this website. They're having the opportunity to look at other stuff because it's there for them if they want to explore, but then they can go back to it whenever they want, and it duplicates out, because duplication is the entire point of this business. So if I sat there on the phone with them, which I was doing for an hour, then they get started, which is great. I just sold them, which is what I did. They're never going to do that to one of their friends because they're just going to say, I have no idea. And what was happening to me is that they'd be like, okay, my friend is interested because I'm losing weight. Could you do that all over again for them? And then I would have to and it was duplicating. And then I was really, instead of duplicating out the systems, I was duplicating out myself. And at a certain level, you can't duplicate yourself out anymore. You only have so much time in a day, and then we're back into linear income. So you have to duplicate out the system. And that's why the tools is so crucial, because the tools is what really makes this so duplicatable and so residual, because I know that in 10 years from now, if I do this correctly, even when if I'm not building this business anymore, people will be going and using the tools and using the system. So knowing your Get Fit website and then knowing your Global Exec Team website, it's the same thing. When I get someone started and they want to, be a business builder, I say, great. I go, step one, I want you to go to, watch this week. And I go, get back to you when you've done that. Instead of me having to go in and do the full training, it's already there. I'm just leading them to the information and then guiding them and answering questions along the way. And the more you do it, the more you watch it, then one day you'll be able to do the presentations, but you don't need to be able to do them. And that's what makes this so powerful. People say all the time, we earn while we learn, And the people that are the most successful in this business are not the people that know everything. It's the people that just act, and they act fast, right? Because you don't need to know anything. There are so many people that will get to millionaire status in this business, and they turn around and they're like, I have no idea what I just did. I really don't. But then there's so many people that are like, I understand this entire industry, and I have not even gotten to one star because I spent all this time trying to read every book and understand everything and do everything instead of just connecting into the system.
It's so amazing. I hope everybody listens to this again, because you've given us such powerful information. And for those of you that are new, you probably don't all know what all the tools are. So just so you know, we'll put them tomorrow on our team business Facebook page and remind you guys of the websites we're talking about in the calls, because there are some new people and some people interested. So I'm a little nervous to unmute the lines because it always is a lot of noise, but we do have, if you are still okay with like 5 more minutes.
I'm free for the rest of the night, so we can just go until you guys have your answers.
Well,
your questions.
You are so amazing. I mean, you really covered all of my questions, so I want to just unmute and see if anybody has any burning questions. And I know there's some new folks on the line, so you guys don't be shy or bashful. Ask your question, because we've got a rock star right now, so take advantage. All right, so everybody's unmuted. I'll just mute you back when we see who has a question. Anybody? Throw out a question.
Live campus video streams and chats.
Hey, Chelsea, it's Elaine. I just want to say thank you so much for this great.
Well, why don't they tell us who the person is?
I'm going to mute everybody except you, Elaine. Sorry.
Yeah, that seems sketchy, though.
Okay, sorry. I'm coming, Elaine. I just can't keep everybody unmuted. It's so much noise. Okay, go, Elaine.
I can't hear you, Elaine, but just click on the bottom of your screen. There should be like a little X off of your microphone.
Yep.
There you go.
Kim, that was Suzanne.
I just realized that was Suzanne. Mm-hmm.
Who's logged in as me also. Chelsea, I just wanted to say thank you so much for this great call. You are really inspiring, and I texted your mom and dad in the middle of it and just gushed on you, because you really are, their words are coming through you, and you have made so many great points, and just hearing it from you is eye-opening, I'm sure, for everyone on this call. So thank you for everything you said, especially at the end there. Just saying, don't go try and learn everything. Just get out and do.
Yeah.
Just go do the do. And you nailed it. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we are so grateful. I think I'm not going to unmute because there's just so much crazy noise when I unmute. If somebody has like a burning question, why don't you Facebook message me? And I'm looking right now.
There's a chat right there too. So if anyone has it, they can just
just do it that way, because there's so much noise with just so many different lines. So we'll just give you a second to do that if you have questions. But again, Chelsea,
chat, so it should pop up.
Let's see. Yeah, you guys just ask in that little chat button. All right, I don't see anything. So yeah, once again, Chelsea, we're so grateful that you would take this time, and I agree. Oh my gosh, you're so inspiring. You're so inspiring, and that was massive amounts of just perfect information. And you guys just use the tools like she said. So great, and you're just so vivacious and fun to listen to too.
Thank you, and I will say. I haven't said this to anybody yet, so this might be a little bit of privileged knowledge right now, but I will say that I've been talking to my mom about it a lot, and we think that there is maybe a need for a start weekly call. So I might be getting that going soon. So yeah, me and my mom have been going back and forth about it, and I've been thinking, we have a decent amount of people on in our start generation, but we're just splintered throughout the global exec team. So I think that might be something that we'll start maybe even before celebration. So
wow,
yeah,
that would be incredible.
More tools.
The tools are perfect. More tools, that would be incredible. All right, well, it's almost 10 o'clock, so I think we shouldn't take up any more of your time. We're all so grateful. Thank you so much. I know I've learned a lot, and I know everyone did. So huge thanks. We love you.
Happy to help.
All right. Good night, everybody. I'm going to post the recording.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Chelsea.